Technology is continuing to evolve very quickly with the rise of artificial intelligence and the metaverse. For a consulting and advisory group, we must shape the future of the internet by focusing on human qualities instead of technology. Deloitte's Duleesha Kulasooriya joins us now from Singapore. Thank you so much for joining us, Duleesha. First of all, we're seeing the next evolution of the internet maturing so quickly at an exponential pace. How must we, humans, you and I, and the people watching us deal with this?
Very good question, Rico, and great to be on this show. We should be worried, but we should also be excited at the same time. At times, if any of you saw ChatGPT and how it reached in 5 days, it got to 1 million users, and in 2 months, it got to 100 million users. That's the fastest growing technology ever. So in the face of that, it feels scary. And we are at a point of inflection where the whole world is changing. The internet is changing everything, but it also becomes an opportunity for those who lean in now to be able to shape that. So I think there's a huge opportunity here for us as individuals, all of us, society, businesses, and regulators, to start asking the important questions on what the next internet should be.
So do you think that artificial intelligence and the metaverse and the Internet of Things, Duleesha, should be regulated?
They should be, but not without some thought, right? So I think everyone, and particularly the regulators, have a responsibility to take care of the most vulnerable. But we're also talking about the evolution of not just the internet, but the evolution of humanity, right? In this paper, we talk about how humans as dreamers, humans as storytellers, humans as social moral beings can now do things that they ever couldn't before. So it is an exciting time. So it shouldn't be regulation for the sake of regulation. And it should be about balancing kind of that self-responsibility, the self-regulation, with the control.
All right. You mentioned that AI, the metaverse, the Internet of Things should be embraced. We should not be worried,
yes,
but we should be excited.
Yes.
And of course, commercial interests will tell you that also that we cannot fight it. But from your point of view, what is your biggest fear about AI, metaverse, and the Internet of Things?
Well, first let me talk about, like, people always question, is it inevitable? Will it happen? And I do think it is inevitable for two reasons, right? The first is generational gravity. And that's because the early adopters for any of these technologies are the youth, the young people. And 60% of the world's youth live in Asia. So they're already taking on to this stuff. And as they grow older, they expect this. The second is technological gravity. If you look at the investments going into this from like Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard that's going through right now, the investment into OpenAI, billions of dollars, it's also inevitable. So it is going to happen. Now, what do we fear about this? In the short term, it's like any new technology that comes into place. There will be displacements. So it's about our ability to adapt to this and then enhance these things that would make humans and humanity more rather than less, rather than supplant it, right? So the fear is that in the short term, we can't keep up with this. But we've shown over and over again with previous technological evolutions that we do, and we end up being better than ever before.
And you mentioned this very important word called displacement, because Goldman Sachs came out with a study a few months ago that hundreds of millions of jobs will be lost because of artificial intelligence.
Yes. And at the same time, hundreds of millions of jobs, new jobs, will be created by artificial intelligence. Let me give you some examples, right? For anyone who's played with ChatGPT, it's incredible. It's magical because it speaks to you like a natural language. Now, do you think about the world we live in is very English dominant. And there's so many brilliant people for whom English may not be the first language. But now with a tool like ChatGPT, they can write as well as you and I can.
Right.
Imagine how much that's going to unleash, right? For all of the populations who don't have English as their first language.
So, I mean, that is basically the fear, right? I mean, it burst into the scene a couple of months ago. Artificial intelligence, which has been there for several years now, but with ChatGPT, I mean, it has really scared a lot of people. So, as you say, jobs will be lost, but a lot of jobs will be also created. And for those who may lose their jobs, they have to reskill and upskill to remain competitive in the job market.
Absolutely. That has always been the case, and I think it gets sped up here. But I don't think we should fear that for the sake of fearing it, right? I mean, again, if you look at these generative AI tools like Midjourney that you can create things, you might not be skilled at creating something, but now you could let your imagination run and be able to create something. So the pool of people who can create things increases. That creates more competition, yes, but it also creates more opportunity for others, right? So it's this balance between, do we hold ourselves back or do we lean in and find that happy median between regulation and innovation?
Duleesha, thank you so much for your insights. Deloitte Center for the Edge Managing Director, Duleesha Kulasooriya, joining us from Singapore.